I believe you are familiar with this scene, because it is one of the world's famous crashes. NBA legend Kobe Bryant is one of the unfortunate victims. The investigation report of this accident was made public on February 10, 2021. So, was this accident caused by pilot error, mechanical failure, or did Kobe put too much pressure on the pilot? Today we will learn more about this accident together. On January 26, 2020, Kobe was preparing to accompany his second daughter Gianna to the Mamba Sports Academy for a basketball game in Camarillo, about 129 kilometers away. The whole journey only takes about half an hour. They took a luxury S-76B helicopter provided by Island Express this time. The pilot of the aircraft was the company's chief flight instructor AI Zabayan, who was very experienced. The original flight route was to depart from Santa Ana, fly north to Burbank, and finally arrive in Camarillo. Since the company did not have night flight qualifications, the pilot could only rely on visual flight. Visual flight means relying only on the naked eye to observe the direction of flight. The pilot chose two highways as reference points. One is Interstate 5 and the other is Highway 101. At 9 a.m., the helicopter took off from Santa Ana. The pilot chose to fly along the road instead of flying over the sea, because Los Angeles is not only busy on the ground, but also has countless planes flying in the sky every day. For this short distance of 129 kilometers, they need to pass through the controlled airspace of Burbank and Van Nuys Airport. Before arriving at Burbank Airport, due to heavy fog and low visibility, the aircraft can only fly visually, and they must wait for the airspace to clear before entering. After circling for 12 minutes, Kobe's helicopter finally got permission to enter the airspace and soon passed Burbank Airport. Next, they entered the airspace of Van Nuys Airport. Because there was also thick fog near this airport, the pilot chose to fly below the clouds. When they entered the autumn forest area, they were only about 10 minutes away from their destination. But the clouds became thicker, and visibility dropped rapidly. For safety reasons, the pilot quickly contacted the airport, hoping to climb above the clouds. But due to terrain interference, the airport found that they could not see the plane on the radar, so they instructed the pilot to perform an identification procedure to confirm the location. The pilot followed the instructions, and when the radar captured the helicopter again, the airport immediately asked the pilot's plan. The pilot said he was ready to climb to 1,219 meters. Hearing this, the airport was confused and asked again about the plan after the climb, but received no further response. Not long after, the control center received the bad news of the crash. During this period, what operations did Kobe's plane perform, and why did it suddenly crash? All these mysteries can only be solved at the crash site. When the investigators arrived at the scene, they found that the wreckage of the helicopter almost covered the entire hillside, and the scattered items showed that the impact at the time was very strong, indicating that the helicopter crashed at a high speed. The investigators also carefully studied the helicopter's engine, suspension, control panel and various flight indicators, but found no signs of failure before the crash. Even the electrical and mechanical systems were normal. This means that the accident may have been caused by weather or human factors. When the investigation was fully launched, investigators were surprised to find that the aircraft had no cockpit voice recorder, which limited the available information. Therefore, they could only use a system called ADS-B to reconstruct the helicopter's flight path to find out the cause. The investigators first checked the weather conditions on the day. Although the flight route was foggy, it was not unavoidable. Therefore, the focus quickly shifted to the pilot AI Zabayan. AI Zabayan is the chief flight instructor of the helicopter company, and one of Kobe's exclusive pilots since 2015. He has more than 8,000 hours of flight time, and is very experienced. The two have been friends for many years, and this route is not the first time he has flown. Records show that AI Zabayan conducted a weather risk assessment before takeoff, and despite the low clouds, he believed that the risk level was not high and the flight mission could be carried out. Judging from the track map, there was no problem with the weather and the selected flight route at the time. However, the airport radar showed that the helicopter altitude in the crash area was only 137 meters, while the weather report showed that the cloud base was about 335 meters above the ground. According to the 137-meter flight altitude at the time of the crash, the pilot should have a clear view of the ground. But at the same time, a roadside camera captured the helicopter and showed it quickly disappearing in the fog at 137 meters. This can only mean that the cloud base at that time was lower than reported, probably less than 137 meters. Later research also confirmed this. In the Calabasas area, where the crash occurred, there is a unique climate. A large area of air from the Pacific Ocean moves along the mountains, causing the cloud thickness to be much greater than reported. This makes investigators wonder, as an experienced pilot, Why did AI Zabayan not choose to turn around or land in advance when he knew that the visibility ahead was extremely low? Was it Kobe or others who urged him to take the risk to fly into the clouds? Investigators questioned whether AI Zabayan was pressured by Kobe or others, causing him to take the risk. To confirm this, they need cockpit recordings. But because Island Express removed the helicopter's voice recorder to save costs, investigators can only ask other pilots who have flown for Kobe. And they all said that Kobe never pressured or urged them. This ruled out the possibility of Kobe's pressure. So, did AI Zabayan rashly fly into the clouds knowing that he had to rush to the game? This means that he put unnecessary pressure on himself, which led to misjudgment. Investigators can only speculate why AI Zabayan entered the clouds. Now there is only one question left. Even if he accidentally flew into the clouds, with AI Zabayan's rich flying experience, he should be able to find a way to make up for it. So what did he do at the time? When the helicopter entered the clouds, AI Zabayan quickly realized that the altitude was only 137 meters. Due to the low flying altitude, he decided to climb above the clouds and fly over the area. He informed the airport of this decision, but did not find that the helicopter gradually tilted during the climb instead of rising, but descending. If he checked the aircraft attitude or altitude indicators, he could quickly find this problem. But for some reason, AI Zabayan did not do so. According to the training requirements of pilots, in this case, they should slow down or switch to autopilot and report to the airport for help. But AI Zabayan did not do this. Why? Investigators later found that in the clouds, AI Zabayan may not have felt that the altitude was decreasing or the aircraft was tilting. This situation is called spatial disorientation. Spatial disorientation refers to the inconsistency between the pilot's perception and judgment of the flight status and the actual flight status, sometimes with an error of more than 90 degrees. In simple terms, the pilot misjudged the situation, such as feeling that the plane was climbing, when in fact it was level or descending. AI Zabayan experienced this, lost his sense of direction against the background of clouds, and ultimately led to the disaster. Let's quickly review the accident. AI Zabayan, due to overconfidence, accidentally flew into the clouds and found that visibility was almost zero, which prevented him from seeing the ground and experienced spatial disorientation. The plane suddenly tilted to the left, and the climb turned into a descent. When he saw the ground, he tried to pull up, but it was too late. The accident was mainly due to the pilot's violation of flight regulations, failure to enter the clouds and notice the signs of tilt, and was primarily responsible. Kobe's wife Vanessa Bryant sued Island Express for continuing to fly in bad weather, and the court awarded her a huge compensation. But no amount of money can bring back the 18-time All-Star and 5-time NBA champion Kobe Bryant.